Hey everybody, this is Modern Refugee. Still having coffee here and doing this series of videos, sort of like my little video audio autobiography on sort of my past and how I got, where I came from and how I got to be the way I am today. And my first video that I did, I talked about, my early years and some of the things that I seen. And some of the experiences that I had. Not all of them good. Some of them were pretty bad. And but as I grew older, I realized right away when I started getting out of school and stuff that I had to, I had to have a job. I had to have some kind of work, and I had a regular job before I even had a driver's license. My mom would take me to my job and pick me up before I even had a driver's license. In fact, back then, I don't know if it's like that now, but because I was so young and I was working, I actually had to get a release form from the school to allow me to go work. And so I've always had work, and I've always worked as much as I could, under the circumstances. But when I started getting older and I started moving from a couple of different jobs, and I got into the job that I did for many, many years, and this is going to probably sound really, really weird to people because I've never mentioned this before, but I sold firearms from 1992, give or take a little bit of time in between there, but from 1992 to 2020, I sold firearms, and it was at a storefront, and you know I I've seen a lot of firearms over the years, and when I watch people do videos on YouTube and stuff, I see a lot of stuff that's wrong, and at least from my experiences, and marketing and a lot of things have changed in the firearms game since 1992. Now, if you remember back, 1992, that was a couple years before the assault weapons ban. Back then, an AR-15 was a rarity because there was only two companies that made it at that particular point in time, and now, like the sky is the limit. And I remember watching panic buying and people hoarding ammo, and I watched all that stuff firsthand many, many times. I seen multiple different panic buys, and it started with magazines, and then it was the assault weapons ban, and then it was different things like 380 ammunition, and it was 22 shells with the old neck beard days, and I and I had people ask that back. 22 shells was the first toilet paper shortage, and when I witnessed all that stuff, I had people ask, "Well, why are people going crazy over these 22 shells?" And I said, "Well, everybody has one. That's why people are hoarding all this stuff." I had 85-year-old women come in and say, "Hey, I need 22 shells." And I said, "How many do you want?" And they're like, "How many do you have?" And they would like buy all of them. These are people that came in like literally with a walker, and I've seen a lot of stuff work. I've seen a lot of stuff not work. I've seen a lot of firearms fail. I sent back more than my share of firearms to get fixed to the manufacturers. And there's a lot of stuff that people tote today is, oh, this is the best or the greatest or whatever. I've seen so much stuff break, and a lot of the stuff that a lot of really, big companies didn't necessarily put out good product. And I learned back then, because I was an avid shooter too, and especially between 2000 and I'd say 2015 and 2020, boy, I shot hundreds of rounds of ammunition a month, every month for years, and a lot of the stuff that people say and in a lot of videos, that's all marketing, now. and a lot of stuff. I've learned to take firearms on a one-to-one basis. Trial and error, and I've had my share of errors. You buy what you think is the very best. What everybody says is the best. You get out, you shoot a little bit, and it's not the best. It's got problems, and I have come to the conclusion over the years, um, older patterns and older um, firearms are typically better. There was a better fit and finish. They just lasted longer. Things were built to last. Like I did a um, video on my grandfather's old 22, and that's out there somewhere. Maybe I'll put a link in the description for this on that particular video. But that particular old 22, that's well over 100 years old, and it still works fine. A lot of the stuff that's out there today, 100 years from now, that's not going to work. And and I watched the firearms industry sort of turn, and that's one thing with the firearms industry. People got their own opinion, and everybody's opinion is right on, and that's why you have so much division in the Second Amendment community, because nobody knows how to stick together on anything. And like I said, I watched this all from the front line for decades, and if I did videos on all the stuff that I seen break that's supposed to be good and the best and all this other stuff, if I did videos on that, the hate that would come down on me would be like heaven above, And so I don't talk about it much. I just kind of keep that information myself, just share it amongst my friends and neighbors locally. But figured it was time maybe I mentioned some of all of this. But the Second Amendment and the firearms community, that goes hand in hand with preparedness. So all the people that called themselves survivalists back then, and the people that call them preparedness now, pretty much every preparedness channel um, will do something on firearms at some point in time, because they just go hand in hand. It's a hand in hand thing. So there again, I grew up young, um, in hard situations, kind of self sufficient, subsistence style living, and now I had a job that immersed me in the other points of view of preparedness and survivalism back then. And I watched the good, the bad, and the ugly. There were always good survivalists out there that wanted good things, but then there was also, the fringe stuff, kind of the stuff that National Geographic made a shit ton of money, basically ridiculing with doomsday preppers. I seen that thing too. I seen that aspect of it too. And, you could tell when you talk to people, where they were coming from, whether they were legit survivalists, and they wanted to benefit people by spreading knowledge and information and stuff like that, compared to the ones that were out on the fringe. You seen it all at the gun counter. You seen it all at the gun counter, good, bad, and the ugly. And so I started to pick up stuff, and I picked up, and typically, if you had people, old farmers and stuff, that knew how to shoot, knew their way around the woods and whatnot, if they knew that stuff, they knew the other aspects of preparedness like the back of their hand, because they grew up with it. So then I used those opportunities and all them conversations through those, years upon years, to build on top of my knowledge what I have today. So it was just a layering process. I took the information that I already knew, and I folded that and I worked that into the stuff that I was learning in my sort of middle age years, and used that to continue to refine what I felt was important skills. But just another little bit of my past here, sharing with you guys a little bit of my autobiography of kind of where I am today. But anyway, this is Modern Refugee. I appreciate all my subscribers out there. I hope you guys got a little entertainment out of this video here, and looking back into my past, and kind of sharing some of those stories for you guys. You guys have a good one.